Black Ops 3 Zombies is obviously considered to be the creme de la creme, the top of the game when it comes to Call of Duty Zombies. That obviously is just an opinion, but by the majority of people, BO3 Zombies with everything included in it, all of the maps, the Giant, Shadows of Evil, The Rise and Draka, Zetsubo no Shima, Gorod Kurovi Revelations, and then on top of that, Zombies Chronicles, the characters, the storyline, the Easter eggs, the gameplay functions. It's about, for the zombies portion of the game, even the multiplayer, people would argue, one of the best COD games out there. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all of the zombies maps that we have are the best. That doesn't mean that every single one of them is a 10 out of 10 or a 9.5, a 9 out of 10. There are maps on this game that are better than the other, and if you were to rank every single zombies map, there are at least a couple of maps from BO3 that would make it into the all-time list. But I was thinking, and I was interested to know, well, which is considered to be the worst BO3 map? We all have our own opinions, but when it comes to official rankings, ratings, what is the official worst BO3 map? And the only way to really gauge this is by looking at PlayStation ratings or Xbox ratings, Steam ratings charts, where you can figure out which is the most popular. And this shocked me a little bit because for most people within this community on YouTube or Twitter, in the zombies community bubble that people are in, where thoughts are usually regurgitated, it can be quite a bit different to what the general player thinks. Whereas us online might be a little bit more hardcore, a bit more prestige, you could say, and defensive when it comes to your favourite zombies map and which you think is the worst. That's not necessarily what the general player thinks, who just plays zombies now and again, isn't as invested in it as us, and just wants to play zombies for the fun of it, not all of these other weird extra reasons that we have. So I went on to these Steam charts where I was interested to know which is considered the worst rated map in BO3. Zetsubo no Shima is that one that comes to mind. I know people love The Rise and Draka. The Giant is a solid map because it's a remake of Derice. People love Gorod Kurovi. Zetsubo no Shima, from memory, when that map came out, was the map that people had mixed opinions about. It wasn't hated, but it wasn't as loved as the others. And then, of course, the final map was Revelations. However, if you look at the official ratings for all of the BO3 maps excluding Zombies Chronicles, it is actually Revelations which is ranked the lowest. This is officially considered to be the worst rated map in BO3 Zombies. On Steam it's got a 3.5 star rating or 7 out of 10, and on the charts comes in at 69.81%, whereas compared to Zetsubo no Shima, that map just beats it with 71.19%. So Zetsubo no Shima is officially rated slightly higher than Revelations. Not much, but it is. I always knew these two maps would be close anyway, just because all of the others are way out of their league. Personally, for me, Revelations is a bit better, but it is actually the worst rated BO3 Zombies map. This was someone's ranking from all the way back in 2020, with the bottom two being Zetsubo no Shima and Revelations, but for them, Revelations is second, where they describe it as a nostalgia high fun map, which is very easy if you're equipped correctly. And for Zetsubo no Shima, they say they don't hate it, it's just that the item quests for the first 30 minutes are quite annoying. And it shows you that everyone's opinions are different, because if you go on to, I think this was from Game Rant, I can't quite remember, but out of all of the BO3 maps, they ranked Revelations at number 2, better than Gorod Kurovi or the Giant. So that's proof that everyone's opinion is different. They said about it, as it's the 24th Zombies map across the franchise, Revelations was the conclusion to Black Ops 3, featuring an end to the iconic premise story, as well as a celebration of the most iconic Call of Duty's maps by featuring parts of said maps in fractured areas in Revelations. Revelations are built from many different maps, and it works well to form a grand map in both scale and celebration. Revelations have a... shouldn't that be has? Revelations have a bout of Easter eggs, from katanas to hats, that give players different advantages. The map is always fun to explore and experiment with, just be careful of the many zombies types that want to end the game. And going back to the Steam ratings, a couple of the negative ones read, "This product made me sad after doing the Easter egg." That kind of sounds like a good thing if you're interested in doing the story. It was supposed to be emotional, unless you mean it made you sad in terms of it being bad. Somebody else said, "Suck my nuts. I brought the wrong DLC. Is that Revelations' fault?" A couple of the good reviews read, "It's the weakest of BO3's maps, but it's still not terrible." I guess that's a good insult. And Revelations might be a fan service, but it delivers. If you brought Zombies Chronicles, this is the map for you, along with Shangri-La, Origins, The Rise and Draka, Kinder der Toten, Nacht, and Verrückt. Might have missed some, Morgor's Return too. You have to go inside of the Apothecary to get the Pack Punch. Its visuals are absolutely stunning, which I agree with, and I recommend this map 100% to any Call of Duty Zombies fan. So you can see opinions are mixed, still it's considered by more people to be a good map. It still got high ratings, 69%, just losing out to Zetsubo at 71. So it is officially the worst ranked Black Ops 3 map, but I don't think that's necessarily the map's fault, and more to do with the time that it came out. I think if Revelations was released as DLC 3 and DLC 4 was something totally different, it would be ranked a lot higher, simply because we were expecting something a lot grander than what we got for Revelations, considering that this was the end of BO3 Zombies, as that person said in their review. This was supposed to be the grand finale. We were expecting some big kind of battle. Our expectations were so much higher, and it just kind of fell short, and that wasn't Revelations' fault. Whose fault that was? Perhaps us, the players, perhaps Treyarch for not living up to those expectations, not making a map that maybe we should have got. It is nowhere near a bad map, it just wasn't quite what we wanted for DLC 4. But if you look at the history of DLC 4 maps and zombies, I would say besides from Origins in BO2, actually Moon in BO1 as well, how can you complain about, blowing up the Earth and going to the Moon as a final map? You can't, so I think Moon succeeded. Origins with those giant robots, that was a pretty good end map for BO2. But if you look at BO4 with Tagdo Toten, that didn't meet expectations. If you look at Cold War with Forsaken, probably didn't meet expectations. What you want for a last map to send off a mode. World at War was a bit different with Derice, that was all the way back in 2009 where there weren't any expectations, but there have been a few instances where final maps, DLC 4 maps, have been a letdown purely based on expectations, nothing really to do with the map itself. So Revelations definitely suffered from that, but you can't put 100% of the blame on it, because there were a few areas where it lacked. You can see what Treyarch were trying to do, work on our emotions, go off nostalgia. If you're including loads of different parts of our older Zombies maps to pull on our heartstrings, whilst that's nice, there are also going to be people out there who are disappointed because it's not a new map as such. They feel like they have played it before. While remakes and remasters are always nice, I think 9 out of 10 times I always prefer something new, whereas Revelations wasn't totally fresh, but that wasn't the point. It wasn't supposed to be. There were areas where Revelations did fall short though, which was down to the map and the developers. The main Easter egg for me, the final boss battle, wasn't that grand in scale. I think Zetsubo no Shima's was better with the Thrasher. Derice Draka's was better. The final cutscene was slightly disappointing. The wonder weapons being the Apothicon Servant and the Thundergun, there wasn't a new one. For a send-off, it would have been nice to have something new and cool, and it was quite glitchy. There were a few teething problems. Actually, nowhere near as many as Zetsubo had, or Gorod. But there were also loads of areas where this map did well. The amount of Easter eggs, side weapons if you could call them that, Takio's katana, something the player base wanted for ages. The dialogue in the map between the Shadow Man, Dr. Monty, our characters was awesome. The map itself was beautiful, it was visually stunning, looking up at that skybox and seeing the Apothicon Sun, all of the different colours, the orange, the red surrounding it, and going to the Pack-a-Punch, entering inside of the Elder God. My only main issue with it was the amount of enemies, the parasites, the meatballs, the different elemental Margwas, the Furies, did get a bit too much. But overall, Revelations was still a good map, and actually, all of BO3's maps were good. Even for me, I think Zetsubo no Shima, in my opinion, is the worst map. I still don't think it's that bad. None of BO3's maps were, and a 7 out of 10 rating still shows that. It is a good map. It might be the worst rated, but it's not the most hated. That sounded a lot better in my head. But both Rev and Zetsubo no Shima definitely fall short of the rest. Shadows of Evil, Derice Draka, and The Giant are in a different league to these two. But yeah, this was officially the worst rated Black Ops 3 Zombies map. Do you agree with that? Is it close for you? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video today. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.